Oh look, it's raining. Good morning and welcome back. So, if you saw my previous video, we were painting. And I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, we'd finished painting the tub. I'd started the windshield surround. I'd done the front grille and a few other bits and pieces. So today I want to finish cleaning and painting some of these components, and I may start putting stuff on the engine, I'm not sure yet. Or I may start doing electrics inside the tub here. One or the other. But anyway, let's get these doors open and let's figure it out. Well, the wind's getting up to start with, but you should be able to hear me over this. Yeah, got all of these brackets and everything painted. Got most of the windshield surround done. I need to flip it over so I can get, there's a couple of bits that I can't get to for the frame. Brackets there, blah blah blah. Spare wheel. I don't remember how many rims I actually did. I think I only did 4, so there's the first one. So that's got to sit there for a while to dry. Got the radiator grille sitting there just for the moment. I think what I'm going to do is start putting stuff on the engine. I might do some of the electrical connections here as well, and just start getting stuff laid out, figure out exactly where it goes and just start putting it on. I mean, that's really all there is to it. So yeah, let's get started. We have the basic wiring diagram here, and yeah, what I'll do is I'll flip this around so I'm over at the other side, so I'm actually working in the right direction, because that's the front, that's the rear, and obviously front and rear I've got reversed. But very simple wiring diagram. There's not a lot to these. I mean, lights, ignition, and that's it basically. I mean, it's not like we'll have electric seats or anything. So, well, actually I think what I might do, I might time this engine up first before I start putting anything else on. I think that's probably a better idea. Then get that distributor in, get it clamped down, and then we can start figuring out where everything goes. So yeah, I think that's going to be the first thing I'm going to do. Then we'll move to getting electrical connections put in. Okay, so we've got the plugs out. We're on top dead center on the compression stroke. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little, yeah, just a little dot. So what I'm doing now is I'm just giving the distributor a bit of a clean up. I'll get that clamp sorted out, and we'll get it put in, and then we'll start timing this up. It should be pretty straightforward, I think. We'll soon find out. I'm sitting here going through the workshop manual, and the problem we ran into is this is for Willys and it also covers Ford, but the engine that we're using is a much later Hotchkiss, which is the French engine. It's basically the same motor, but there are key differences, and one of them being is that the timing marks that are mentioned in here do not appear on the actual engine itself. Now, I did find that one mark on the crankshaft pulley, which I'm assuming is top dead center. It seems to correspond with, you know, sticking your finger over the plug hole and you can feel the compression building up and then backing off as you go past it. So I'm going to use that as a reference point, and I think what I'll do is I'll do the old vacuum timing method. Basically hook a vacuum gauge up to it. Well, once we get the engine started, get it warmed up, hook a vacuum gauge up to it, and just advance the distributor or retard it, whichever it needs, until it's producing the most vacuum. And then once you hit the maximum value, back it off about an inch of vacuum. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, it's another morning. Unfortunately, I had to pack up early yesterday. I had a few things come up, so everything just got pushed in. But as you can see, we now have the rims out. These are going to be assembled today and tyres put on them. Tyres which are over there. Also found the hood, got that ready. Probably sand that and may paint that today. But also some of the actual gauges. There's one. We have that oil pressure. Where are we at? Yep. And we have amps. So we're missing fuel and temperature, which are about somewhere. I'll tell you something, when you get an old gauge like this and you feel the weight of it compared to a modern one like the ones I put in the Transit, God, it's significant, the difference. I mean, just the build quality on this old stuff is just, yeah. Anyway, same with that. I mean, it's just basically just measures amps, but you can just feel the substance in it. Anyway, I'll probably get those installed. I want to put some of the wiring behind the dash, so I think I'm going to concentrate on that. Engine, I was trying to get that sorted out yesterday to maybe get it started, but did run into a problem in that the cables that came with this, they're just not good enough to use. So I've got a fresh set on order, which hopefully will be here sometime next week. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would like to have gotten this started. I may still just have a bit play around with it, you know, because I can basically put a couple of leads onto it and just hook it up to a battery. But for now, it's yeah. One thing I am going to do though, I am going to put some oil down the plugs, a little bit of ATF fluid. So, and that's just to lubricate all the cylinders and everything, make sure everything's nicely lubed up. Need to check, don't know what oil's in the oil pan, but yeah, we'll do all that in a little while. But yeah, I think I'm going to concentrate on getting some of the wiring in underneath this dashboard and just take it from there, see what we get done today. Okay, I've got everything laid out on my sketch of a Jeep, so yeah, let's start figuring it all out. Made a little rough sketch of the dash layout there, so yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so I've started doing some of the wiring. Initially just getting this block put in and then figuring out where this main harness goes to begin with. Okay, so I have got a lot of this figured out now. Well, at this point I've got the ignition switch and the light switch basically wired up. I've got most of the wiring done in here. Headlight wiring is all roughly in place. I'm packing up because I'm just wet and I'm tired and everything needs to dry out. But amp meter is partially wired. I'll do the voltage regulator tomorrow. Earth stops and everything will go on tomorrow, and yeah, we will take it from there. Okay, so we are moving along here now. It is taking a little bit of figuring out. The diagrams that are available are not very good, but I've got the light switch basically hooked up. Now, I do need to do some more testing on this because this appears to be slightly different from all the wiring diagrams. So, obviously I haven't got the knob tightened yet, but got that. I've got the switch in for the lighting. I've got the horn switch in. which is the UK style rather than the US one that goes down the steering wheel. Ammeter is kind of wired because there's a lot of things come off the ammeter, so I'm working through that. But I'm basically working my way across the Jeep. So I'd originally started at the back, worked my way up to the light switch, and now I'm working my way across. Now, one thing I am going to do, and I'm not sure whether I'll have it available for when this video is actually published or at a later date, but I will definitely put a link down in the description. I am going to do my own wiring diagram, and I will make this for sale on the website. Actually, I'll put a link to my store, and it'll be in the form of a poster or something like that. So, one other difference we are doing with this one, this is going to be 12 volt, not 6. So I do have a Lucas voltage regulator to go into this. Also, I've got the figure out the wiring for that. I'll also include that in the diagram if you are using a Lucas voltage regulator. So yeah, but otherwise, yeah, things are coming along. Couple of little differences, like I said, on the British Jeeps, they put the horn button basically there, or in that general area, rather than it going down the steering column. And so there's a little bit of difference in the wiring here, but it's not significant. So I will include both variants on the wiring diagram. So yeah, anyway, let's get back to this. I'm getting a little bit closer, but everything ran in now behind light switch, ignition switch, and this controls the dial illumination. So that's done. I'm now basically working my way along. Now, there's another junction down there, and it goes outside here somewhere. It goes somewhere around here. See if we can get this light better. Somewhere around there. Now what I'm going to need to figure out is where the cables actually come through. So I'm going to go take a look at the other Jeep, see what I can find. Because the ignition coil goes right here, so it's got to be one of these three holes here. So let's just figure it out, see what we've got. Oh, well, let's see here, but comes through just around below that bracket there anyway. So yeah, it's fine. I need to find that bracket. I know I've got it, but I need to figure out where it is at the moment. And then yeah, I'll just put that roughly into place, and then that'll give us an indication of where the cables come through from. So yeah, so we got the bracket on there. Where are we at? Don't see. There, that's it. Got the bracket on there. So all I've got to do now is drill that hole at the bottom. And that there is where the cable will come through. And then I've got to figure out where there's a little junction. Got to go down there somewhere. There we go, that's better. But yeah, that hole there has got to be drilled out, and then the junction goes down below it somewhere. So slowly but surely. Okay, so bracket on and cable is run through with a nice grommet. Okay, let's try and get this camera in. Bracket is on, cable is run through with a nice grommet. So I'm going to put the block, it goes round about there. So on the other Jeep, it's directly below that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a measurement down and approximate it, and I'll drill it from inside the tub rather than trying to drill it from out here, because I know where that bolt comes in at. Now there's the bolt there, so I'll just take it down maybe 2 inches, 3 inches perhaps, and then just drill it from inside here. So there, then I'll be able to drill another hole just there. Obviously this goes on the outside of the tub, but I'm just using it for reference here. Then just makes it simpler. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, then there we go. That is now nicely installed. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put the starter motor roughly into place, and I'm also going to put the alternator in again, just roughly sat there. The reason for this is this is going to have a 12 volt system rather than 6, so we've got to put a different regulator in there. I think I mentioned earlier it is a Lucas one, so I've got to go and basically look up the wiring schematic for it. So I need at least not the alternator, the dynamo in place. Starter motor now because we're not using the 6 volt system, we are using different battery cables. We're just using a modern battery cable on it. So what I've got to do is I've got to take a measurement from, where is it at, the switch here, and to the starter motor. Then from the other side of the switch, I've got to take one all the way up here to the battery. And I've got to have those made up. Obviously, I've also got to have a negative lead made up as well. So, yeah, I need to get that all sorted out before I can progress any further. But first thing I'm going to do is get the starter motor and the dynamo mounted. And then I can basically start taking measurements from there. Right now we're having some issues with the starter motor bolts, so rather than messing about with them, I am going to just mount the dynamo and just order some new bolts. That'll be the easiest. They're like $3, so they're not monstrously expensive. So yeah, I'm going to mount the dynamo. Meanwhile, I've pulled out, got 2 of these. That's a used one. A Lucas voltage regulator, and this is a later reproduction. I don't think it's made by Lucas anymore. I don't know who made it, but it's basically the same thing, just a later version of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the alternator mounted, and then I'm going to start working on getting these actually wired up. So I've got the Lucas voltage stabilizer almost wired in. This is to go onto F, which is there, and the only one left is the ground, which will go onto there. So again, I will include this in the diagram that I do, just for reference. So, and that will mount on the fender kind of there somewhere. But yeah, everything's come along quite nicely. Well, as you can see, we've moved back inside now. It started raining again, so yeah, whatever. Anyway, I did get the Lucas box basically installed. I've just got it sitting there. Well, it's not a Lucas, it's a Lucas style. Just, you know, some people will get a bit anal about it, but it's a Lucas style voltage regulator. So that is now hooked up. I will stick an image up of the wiring diagram I'm putting together for this, so if anybody that wants to do something similar. Haven't got it connected to the dynamo, obviously. Really, I don't want to do any more connections until I've got the front fender and everything on. Plus, this dynamo does need to be installed correctly. It's, like I said, it's just basically sat in place with a couple of bolts in, just to get just make sure wire lengths and everything are correct. But yeah, all in all, it went well today. You know, got a lot done. It's figured out quite a few things. But oh, one thing as well. Anybody else? Yes, I know that is a Willys one. It's not a Ford, but it's the only one they had in stock, and we want to move along with the project. So yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up tonight. Oh, good morning, guys. Oh, what's up, guys? A new day, Sun's shining. See if we can get this place dried out a little bit. Got quite a bit done yesterday, and I got the voltage regulator and everything in, wiring right through to here. So what I want to do now is I want to just take a quick measurement for battery leads. The one thing we are doing is we're not using the factory leads because we're doing a 12 volt system. We're changing a couple of things around, more out of not so much necessity, but just make it more practical anyway. So I'm going to measure up for the leads this morning. There we go, that's better. I'm going to measure up for the leads this morning. I've got to go off into town, so I will see if I can get those made up, and then we can start fitting them when I get back. Oh look, it's raining. Great. Just great. I have been into town, and the places that normally do or used to do the starter motor and battery cables, they no longer do them. And I've been to 5 different places, and all of them say the same thing. We used to do them, we don't do them anymore. So I just had to order the crimpers and everything, and yeah, so that's basically brought that to an abrupt halt. Yeah, I don't even know if you can hear me over this. Anyway, what I'm going to try and do today, for the rest of the day, is just get all the little extra bits of wiring put in. I'm 99% there, so yeah. At least the guttering's working. Okay, you can hear me over the rain again. The only thing I've got left now is the green, which goes to the field. Now, again, experts out there will look at this loom and they will say that's a Willys. We know that. Again, that's the only one we had available. We'd like to have put a reproduction Ford one on, couldn't get one, so we'll go with what we've got. Anyway, last one to connect is the green, which is the field, which goes to F on here, which is that guy right there. I'm using nuts and bolts, obviously I'll cut that off, but I'm trying to keep the harness as original as possible, so if anybody wants to put it back to the 6 volts, it's simply a matter of just unbolting this and, you know, bolting up to 6 volts. So anyway, let's get this one connected. Okay, that's all now done, and the bolts now just trimmed off. So that is just ready to connect to the dynamo, which I'm not doing at the moment because that does have to come back off. So there's no point in doing anything on that at the moment. Only thing left to connect up now is, as you can see down there, is the coil and the distributor. So may as well stick those on and yeah, get them connected up. Well, now I have the coil installed. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I might actually get on and do that dynamo, get that mounted correctly, and then that's that done. But otherwise, we're pretty much there on the electrical side of it. Yeah, we've got the amp meter and we've got the oil pressure gauge. I have to find the adapter for the engine block. There was a box of bits and pieces here that I've got to go through. It may be in there, I'm not sure. If not, we'll have to order one. Temperature gauge, that is on order, but what we do need is the coupling that goes into there. Again, there might be one in that box, I don't know, but that's where the thermocouple basically goes into the head. So it's not an electric gauge, it's a mechanical one. Fuel gauge, got the wiring actually run in for that, we're just waiting for the gauge to arrive. So yeah, at the moment I'm kind of at a standstill with what I can do electric wise. I don't want to start putting lights and everything on until I've got everything connected. under the dash, because there are some connections under there that I still need to be made when I've got the other gauges, so don't want to get into any of that until then. But yeah, so I think what I'm going to do now is I may as well just go ahead and see if we can get this dynamo mounted correctly. Well, if you can hear me over the rain, I think I pointed this out earlier, but him there, that fitting right there, that is what I've got to get. So if I can pop him out, and then I've got a box of unions and everything here. Obviously that's the oil pressure gauge. So if I can get this hooked up, and basically other than that there's for the horn, other than the horn, this side is complete. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll try and get this routed in, and yeah, I may as well then just put the fender on this side, and then I can get this harness all tucked into where it goes, get the radiator on, maybe get the front grille on, get that all bolted up, and then that just leaves that far side. So yeah, we should be able to get quite a bit done today. Well, as usual, we've got every fitting but what I need. For whatever reason, this pipe that where's it at? Where is it? What have I done with it? So, for whatever reason, this flexi that goes to the engine block has metric fittings on it. On this one here, we've got AN, which goes to the gauge. This goes down to this adapter, which this then goes into. The problem is that, where's it at? It's a small one. This guy here that screws into the engine block is meant to go into there. Obviously, he doesn't. So I've went through all the fittings that I've got, because I've got a selection of AN, metric, imperial, what have you, and I cannot find anything to adapt this guy to that guy. I even found this one here, which I think is actually an original Jeep one, because it's in amongst a box of Jeep stuff. So, but again, we are not anywhere close. Actually, this may be a metric one, I don't know. Whatever, none of this is working, so gonna have to get on the old interweb there and take a look and see exactly what fitting kits they have for this. But yeah, we were under the assumption that we did have everything for this, and I think Andy's dad also was under that same assumption, but we don't. So yeah, all I can do is put that oil plug back in for the moment so that we don't forget about it and fire the engine, and yeah, you know what happens after that. So anyway, let's put that back in and then we'll move on to something else. Well, it's the next morning. I packed up yesterday, I just got tired of the rain. So, I've really gotten to a point where there's not a lot more I can do on the electrical system right now. Primary issues are don't have the rest of the gauges. They are ordered, but they're not here yet. I need the fuel gauge and a few other bits and pieces for under that dashboard, and without them I just can't complete everything under there. Engine wise, battery leads, I've ordered a crimping tool so I can make my own, which seems to be the only way we're going to get battery leads on this, because everybody we've tried locally has said no, we don't do them anymore. So that's at a standstill. And starter motor, waiting on the bolts for that. They'll arrive with the gauges, all of that will come together. Dynamo, I do need to remount that. I've been looking at the other Jeep and I don't know, this dynamo seems to be a little bit different, but there is a spacer there to go on, which I will put on today. At least get that mounted up. Other thing I might do is, I might get the radiator on, so I can get the fender on that side, and the front grille on, and then I can at least get all the cabling run. And that's basically everything done that I can do. So, yeah, let's figure some of this out. Let's see if I can get this sorted out today, and then that's probably going to be it for this video. So yeah, first things, I get the other door open so we can get some more light in here, and then yeah, we'll just start plugging away. So it just got better. The kit that came with the actual fender fitting kit that we bought, it's come with a mixture of metric and US standard bolts, and the problem is that yeah, we can get away with the metric down like the edges of the down the edges of the fender. Problem is the frame. Where are we at? This one here should be standard. It's not. It's metric. And of course the frame has a standard thread in it. I've been through the bolt box and I'm only find one with the correct thread on it, so I'm going to have to make a run to the bolt shop. The whole idea of buying these kits is to, you know, basically save yourself from having to do this, but obviously it hasn't worked, so here we are. Yeah, wet and frustrated again. Well, there we have it. Fender is now fitted. It's not, the grille isn't tightened up yet. I won't do that until I've got the other fender on, because it needs to be movable. So yeah, overall it's not too bad. I'm going to stick the plugs in, and I'm going to put the HT leads on, and then that's everything there done basically. Radiator hoses, they're coming with everything else. May have located some starter motor bolts. So I did have a run up to the bolt shop. They didn't have any. They're not expecting any in until at least another week. They says just go online and order them. So, you know, that tells you everything. Wow, there we go. Have HT leads on. Don't need to be sorted out yet. It's got to be timed, so not too worried about everything there. I've got the junction block in there. That cable isn't yet clipped up. I do have a fixing kit for that. I just don't want to put it on yet because I want the rest of the front end all assembled, and then I'll do that all together. But overall, yeah, she's come along quite good. She is beginning to look like a Jeep now. So I think this is where I'm going to wind this video up. I'm waiting for parts now. I'm basically at a standstill until they arrive, and I don't know when that's going to be. So obviously I would like to have gotten all the wiring and everything done on this front fender on, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I am actually producing my own wiring diagram for this, and I will have this available for sale, hopefully by the time this video goes up. I have been working on it on a night time after I've packed up here, so probably by the time I get this probably by the time I edit this and have it ready to go online, I will have the wiring diagram complete and loaded up. So yeah, as it goes, usual, keep the algorithm happy, hit that like button, subscribe, and come back and see me sometime. Have a good one.